Speaking of interrupting the duopoly, I told you guys that RFK Jr. should be running as an independent or third party. I don't support RFK Jr.'s campaign, but I still think that he should be running independent or third party, right? We see what the Democratic Party is doing. We see how they're trying to cheat, how they're changing the rules in New Hampshire and Iowa. This was expected. Now, it appears there are rumblings that RFK Jr. could be considering running through the Libertarian Party. I kid you not. The New York Post has already reported this, and I thought you guys would be interested in seeing this. RFK Jr. flirts with the Libertarian Party. Mr. Kennedy sat down with the party's chair in July, a previously undisclosed meeting, as Democrats fret about a third party bid. Well, if it was undisclosed, it's not undisclosed now. I'm just saying. Okay, let's get into it. Lately, Mr. Kennedy's message has seemed to shift, including publicly telling a voter who asked about his plans that he was keeping his options open. If Mr. Kennedy does decide to leave the party of his famous father and uncles to run in the general election, one potential landing spot may be the Libertarian Party, which at the moment lacks a widely known candidate, but has excelled at securing ballot access. So one thing to think about, again, remember the Libertarian Party does have ballot access in all 50 states. So I think if he were going to run with one, considering some of his policy positions, that makes the most sense in my opinion. However, I do have to ask, do libertarians actually want to vote for RFK Jr.? Some of them have told me that they do. Some of them have told me that they don't really like his platform, particularly his position on guns. But we'll get to the pros and cons according to a libertarian perspective about RFK's platform in just a second. In July, Mr. Kennedy met privately with Angela McArdle, the chair of the Libertarian Party, at a conference they were both attending in Memphis, a meeting that was not previously reported. He emphasized that he was committed to running as a Democrat, but said that he considered himself very libertarian. Ms. McArdle said in an interview, adding that they agreed on several positions, including the threat of the deep state and the need for populist messaging. We're aligned on a lot of issues. Are they? My perspective is that we are going to stay in touch in case he does decide to run, and he can contact me at any time if that's the case. In an interview with the libertarian magazine Reason, Mr. Kennedy acknowledged his ideological disagreements with the party, including on issues like environmental protection, abortion, and civil rights, while also saying, "I've always been aligned with libertarians on most issues." And this is something I want to point out here about RFK. If you disagree with the Libertarian Party in reference to environmental protection, abortion, civil rights, and I think also guns too, we'll show that in just a second, I believe. How do you align with them on most issues? That's 4 already. Let's continue. In a general election, Democrats worry that a third party run by Mr. Kennedy could draw votes away from Mr. Biden and help elect former President Donald Trump. In the case of RFK, I say that doesn't make any sense because RFK has a lot of support from people who are Republican, and there's support for people who are independents as well. And I told you some libertarians have told me that they would support RFK Jr. I don't think RFK Jr. will be taking votes away from Joe Biden. If anything, he could be taking votes away from Donald Trump. Maybe, but maybe not. We'll have to see. In a general election, They've expressed similar concerns about no labels, the bipartisan group trying to recruit a moderate candidate for a third-party run, and also about progressive scholar Cornel West, who is already in the race to lead the the Green Party's ticket for 2024. Matt Bennett, a co-founder of the centrist Democratic group Third Way, has been helping coordinate Democratic efforts to stop the no labels effort. He said the hope in the party has been that Mr. Kennedy would go away after losing primaries to Mr. Biden. It would be very bad if Mr. Kennedy runs as a libertarian. Mr. Bennett said, "We've been very clear that third parties in close elections can be very dangerous and would almost certainly hurt the president. That would be true of a no labels candidate, and it would be true of RFK." Again, I told you guys before, I think this is bullshit. This is ridiculous that people can vote however they want to vote. And this idea that we're supposed to have a true democracy, but that democracy can only exist between two parties that are draconian at best. I think that this just goes to show you where this country is headed. If we want a real democracy, we need to let people vote the way that they want to vote. Dennis Kucinich, Mr. Kennedy's campaign manager, said there was no truth to the idea that Mr. Kennedy could run as a libertarian. He said the meeting with Ms. McErdle simply offered further proof of Mr. Kennedy's appeal across the political spectrum. "We have not sought the favor of any other political party," Mr. Kucinich said. Ms. McErdle said that the meeting at the Libertarian Freedom Fest convention had been requested by Heal the Divide, a pro-Kennedy super PAC, and that she spoke with Mr. Kennedy for nearly an hour, but had not had further meetings. He separately met with other leaders of the libertarian movement at the conference. Now, how do libertarians feel about RFK Jr.? Here's a little quick video here about pros and cons about RFK's platform, according to the Libertarian Party.
So what would RFK Jr. be like as president? Part of his appeal, to libertarians at least, is that he's staunchly anti-war and a huge critic of COVID lockdowns and mandates. But he's fundamentally a big government liberal. He supports Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal. He favors heavy-handed government intrusion in the realm of environmental policy. He's anti-nuclear energy. He wants pharmaceutical companies to burn in hell. And he seems to believe in an almost Alex Jones-esque dramatized concept of the deep state. He also favors massive wealth redistribution.
I don't think these huge disparities in wealth are healthy for our country or healthy for democracy.
Sounds like may not be the best fit after all. But if he were going to choose a third party, I could see him choosing that one, right? Because he does have more support on that side than he does with like the Green Party, for example. And he wouldn't run through the Green Party anyway. So there's that. It was really interesting to me that he said in the article, he mentioned civil rights. I thought that was pretty interesting because on what issue in reference to civil rights? Because he's changed his answer on police brutality multiple times, depending on who he's talking to. So I don't even know, but I don't even know. But that being said, I want to show you what the poll looks like right now without any of those people, without Cornel West or RFK Jr., a head-to-head matchup with Trump and President Biden. Ryan Knight said Biden and the Democrats are going to get crushed in 2024, and they will have no one to blame but themselves. Gaslighting people that the economy is great when most Americans have less money in their pockets due to the rising cost of living has always been backfire to the Democrats. Look at this poll, honey buns. This is without third-party candidates. Donald Trump is polling at 51% now in a head-to-head matchup against Joe Biden. Joe Biden's polling at 42%. Now, this is the new ABC News Washington Post poll. That's without third-party candidates. So please show this to the people that are telling you that Cornel West and RFK and Marianne and all these other people are going to give us Trump. Please show them that without those candidates, they are not in this poll. Donald Trump is beating Joe Biden by almost double digits. Please show them. Thank you. Woo! We got to talk about these things, folks.